provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about commercial fleets in CW 2425. Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI. Welcome back to another deep dive.
Hi, everyone.
Today, we're really plunging into the latest developments, the things transforming the commercial fleet landscape right now.
That's right. And our mission really is to cut through all the noise. We want to distill the top trends and innovations, the stuff making waves on LinkedIn these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're working in the mobility industry, our goal is simple. Give you clear, concise insights, help you make sense of, well, what actually matters for your strategy and operations.
Okay, let's unpack this then. First up, our big theme seems to be laying the groundwork. Electrification, momentum, and key launches. It feels like a lot of the activity in the commercial fleet world these past couple of weeks was about, pushing the envelope. On vehicle tech, yes, but also, crucially, the infrastructure needed for mass electrification. What's standing out to you there?
Well, what's really fascinating, I think, is just the sheer speed of it all. How quickly critical infrastructure is popping up and how fast new vehicle types are becoming market ready.
Right.
A really prime example is Milence. They just unveiled Europe's first public megawatt charging system, MCS, at EVS 38.
Wow.
Yeah, and they demoed it with a Volvo Group FH Aero electric truck. Bill Pierce from evinfo.net really flagged this as a major leap.
Megawatt charging, that's serious power.
It is. Imagine getting a heavy-duty truck from 20% to 80% charge in just 30 to 45 minutes.
30 to 45 minutes.
Yep. That's not just, faster charging. It fundamentally changes the game for long-haul electric transport, cuts downtime massively.
That kind of speed for heavy duty really is groundbreaking. It suggests a major hurdle, maybe the major hurdle for long-haul electrification, is being tackled head-on.
Exactly.
But this momentum, it isn't just about the biggest trucks, is it?
No, not at all. We're seeing similar shifts happening in, say, urban transport and also in more specialized areas.
Okay.
Take National Express West Midlands. They just confirmed they're transitioning to a fully electric bus fleet. And Caroline Wilson mentioned the driver response has been really positive, though she did stress how important specialized training is.
Good point. The human factor is key.
Definitely. And then in those niches, Ben Fielden shared that SunSwap's battery-powered refrigeration units got picked by Bannister Transport. They're building the UK's very first zero-emission refrigerated fleet.
Zero-emission refrigerated. That's another big step.
It is. So what these examples show, from super fast truck charging to electric buses and even refrigerated units, is this clear acceleration. It's happening across all parts of commercial transport. We're moving past pilots into real commercial deployment. It signals, I think, a maturing ecosystem, growing confidence.
A maturing ecosystem. I like that. And it's not just these huge headline-grabbing launches, right? There are smaller, maybe more localized innovations happening too.
Yes, definitely. Things happening on the ground, you could say. David Abu Yusuf shared that CAFU just introduced Canada's first mobile EV charging service for fleets.
Mobile charging. Interesting.
Yeah, offering energy on demand right where the vehicles are. It gets around that need for fixed infrastructure right away, which is a big plus for smaller fleets or ones with changing routes.
Smart.
And we're seeing more and more cities just committing to zero emissions. Jared Hall noted Petaluma Transit took delivery of new battery electric buses. Same for Arriva London. Richard Yoxall shared that. It just reinforces that urban momentum.
Yeah, cities seem to be leading the charge in many ways.
They really are. Elaine Meskey detailed Milan's plan, too. They want a fully zero-emission bus fleet by 2030. That's 1,200 electric buses.
1,200? Wow.
So the takeaway, electrification is really becoming the standard in cities globally, driven by big commitments, sure, but also these clever local solutions.
That global adoption is fantastic to see. Okay, so beyond the individual vehicles and the local services, the sheer scale of this transition, it feels like it needs more than just individual companies acting alone.
Absolutely.
Which brings us perfectly to our second theme, strategic connections. Partnerships and alliances driving scale.
Precisely. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how these strategic tie-ups are becoming the critical lever. They're unlocking the massive scale needed for electrification to really take hold. It's about combining strengths, tech, finance, local know-how, accelerating things way beyond what one company could do solo.
And we are seeing some seriously significant partnerships pop up because of this need for scale. Like the city of Brampton in Canada and Zenova, they've agreed on this huge $4 billion program. The goal, Deploy 1,000 electric buses.
$4 billion. That's a statement.
It really is. Stephen Mearsman and Scott Gilliner both flagged this as a landmark UK-Canada collaboration. It's cleverly pairing UK financing expertise, Zenobé's strength, with Canadian demand.
A smart pairing.
And then across Europe, Anil Srivastava shared that Smart Freight Center and Pragmacharge kicked off Europe's largest road freight decarbonisation coalition. The aim is to get everyone aligned stakeholders, on infrastructure, standards, right across the continent.
So these aren't just local deals anymore.
No, exactly. What these examples show is a clear move towards these big cross-border, multi-stakeholder alliances. It's a recognition that decarbonizing logistics needs a unified, systemic approach. You can't do it piece by piece.
And if we connect that thought, it's clear that data is becoming the glue holding these alliances together. We're moving beyond just talking about vehicles to thinking about intelligent operational ecosystems.
Data as the backbone. Makes sense.
Yeah. Johan Larsson mentioned Volvo Cars partnering with Target Telematics. They're launching a global OEM data platform.
Global OEM data.
Right, promising deeper insights, crucially, for mixed-brand corporate fleets. So it's not just about Volvos. It's about unifying data, whatever vehicles you run.
That's powerful for fleet managers.
Very. And similarly, Jack Burton highlighted Marsh Commercial and Samsara deepening their cooperation. They're working to turn telematics data into really actionable risk recommendations for insurers, for operators.
Linking data directly to risk and insurance.
Exactly. It's a joint value proposition, making data work harder to cut risk and optimize things across the whole supply chain.
Okay, so with all this complexity, all this new data slowing, it must mean that external expertise is getting more and more critical, wouldn't you say?
That's a great question.
Is it becoming indispensable for companies trying to navigate this, or are internal teams managing to skill up quickly enough?
I'd say yes, it absolutely is becoming vital. We've seen reports where successful EV rollouts were directly linked to bringing in consultants. It really highlights the value of that outside perspective. It's crucial for navigating tricky change management, like how do you shift an entire workforce over to EVs?
Right, the people side.
And it's also vital for accurately modeling the total cost of ownership, the TCO. That goes way beyond just the sticker price of the vehicle.
Good point. TCO is complex with EVs.
Very. So the insight here is really that electrification isn't just swapping vehicles. It's a full operational transformation. And often, that needs specialized guidance.
Speaking of operations, that brings us nicely to our third theme, smart operations. Fleet management, data, and AI for efficiency and safety. This is all about how data-driven tools are really sharpening those levers, risk, safety, efficiency, right across the board. What's the immediate impact you're seeing here?
Well, what's fascinating is the immediate tangible improvements fleets are getting from smarter management systems. Brendan Lairs, for instance, noted a Fleetio deployment at Executive Landscaping. It dramatically improved their asset visibility, boosted crew productivity. It just shows those quick wins you can get from adopting cloud-based fleet management systems, or FMS.
So practical benefits right away.
Exactly. And there's also clear industry guidance coming out. Marion C. elaborated on that crucial difference between FMS and TMS transport management systems.
Yes, FMS versus TMS.
Right. And she emphasized needing seamless data exchange between them across the whole logistics stack. And on a really practical note, Joju Mayao reminded everyone about customer support.
Good old customer support.
Yeah.
Still matters.
Absolutely. When choosing an FMS, he says, it can really make or break the implementation. And Drew O'Kay highlighted another practical shift, moving away from those clunky physical permit binders.
Oh, those binders.
Yeah, moving towards a digital permit book. Much more efficient real-time permit management gets rid of a lot of common headaches.
That sounds like a relief for many operators. So a lot of this is about streamlining with better tools. But what about more advanced tech, like AI? Is that playing a big role in operations now? Maybe efficiency or safety?
Absolutely. AI is becoming critical. And it's being used in, well, some surprisingly diverse ways.
Such as?
Lars Lee Potrek highlighted new AI-enabled energy management tools. These are seen as vital for balancing all the tricky bits. Grid constraints, depot capacity, total cost, especially during electrification.
So AI managing the energy side, not just the trucks.
Exactly. It's about the whole ecosystem. And in cities, Doro Rodove discussed AI-driven routing. Greenlight saw measurable cost and service gains. It really strengthens the ROI case for using software to optimize.
Makes sense in complex urban networks.
Definitely. And Benjamin Kickhofer even emphasized that optimizing fleet planning with AI could potentially double the electric ton-kilometer share and cut costs significantly.
Double. That's impressive.
It is. And beyond efficiency, AI is also fundamentally boosting safety. Matteo Carbone talked about AI camera platforms.
Okay, driver monitoring.
Yeah, detecting risky driving behavior in real time. This lets carriers price risk more dynamically, and fleets can intervene much earlier.
Proactive safety.
Right. And Kelly Rickard highlighted eye tracking systems for driver monitoring. She argued they're superior to just head tracking for meeting the upcoming GSR requirements, that's the general safety regulation, and for cutting losses from distraction.
Eye tracking. More precise.
Seems so. Interestingly, Vivek Panvenkandath cautioned operators, telling them to rely on telematics insights for real efficiency gains and premium reductions, not fuel additives, basically debunking some myths there.
Okay. Stick to the data.
Pretty much. And on the positive side, Abhinav Vasu introduced Geotap Vitality. It's a platform based on behavioral science, uses rewards to encourage safer driving.
Incentives rather than just penalties.
Exactly, shifting focus from just risk to positive reinforcement. And Manoj Balarao, I think, summed this whole theme up perfectly. He stressed data-driven decarbonisation, saying, own your data, own your future.
Own your data, own your future.
Yeah.
Like that.
The big takeaway here is that data and AI aren't just for tracking anymore. They're becoming fundamental strategic assets, optimizing everything from energy use to driver habits.
That's a powerful mantra, and it really ties things together. Now, all this innovation, it's incredibly exciting, but
Right.
the transition isn't exactly smooth sailing, is it?
No, definitely not.
Which leads us to our final theme, powering the transition. Infrastructure, policy, and overcoming electrification hurdles.
Right. And this brings us to those crucial enabling factors. The supporting tech, the funding, the policies, and acknowledging the real-world hurdles that are still very much there.
Absolutely.
Because without tackling these, scaling electrification really hits a wall.
Definitely. Okay, so on the funding and incentive side, what are we seeing?
Well, Joseph Bierniak mentioned New York State is significantly boosting its EV charging incentives.
Good news for operators there.
Yeah, specifically designed to speed up depot infrastructure rollouts for commercial fleets. And Charlotte Argue shared an interesting analysis from the Pembina Institute.
What did that show?
It showed immediate payback for electric trucks in the greater Toronto and Hamilton area, if the incentives align properly with total cost models.
Immediate payback. That's huge.
It is, because it directly challenges that perception that we need some future breakthrough to make EVs viable today. It flips the conversation from if to how do we unlock this value now?
Great point.
And on a bigger scale, Anna Waxbergerini spoke about the World Bank committing finance to help São Paulo shift to a zero-emission bus fleet. That signals that big institutional money is ready to back these large-scale projects. She called it a dear operation.
Institutional capital stepping in. That's significant. Okay, what about supporting technologies and services? Are they evolving to ease the transition?
They really are, and aiming to lower those barriers to entry. Joshua Aviv noted Spark Charge is pushing a charging-as-a-service model.
Charging as a service.
Yeah, zero upfront cost, rapid deployment. That's huge for small and mid-sized fleets who might balk at the big initial investment for chargers.
Removes a major hurdle.
Definitely. And Neeraj Kumar Singhal highlighted LFP battery chemistry, lithium iron phosphate. It's gaining a lot of traction because it combines safety, long life, and lower cost. Seems to be becoming the default for high-use commercial EVs.
LFP gaining ground.
And Amelia Sibley shared results from Terawatt and Windrow's high-power charging demos. They unlocked 240 miles of range in just 40 minutes.
40 minutes for 240 miles. Again, impressive speed.
Yeah, showing how tech can deliver faster payback for operators. And thinking even beyond charging, Brian Taylor discussed using EVs as mobile power plants, vehicle-to-grid or V2G.
V2G.
Right, in British Columbia. This lowers energy costs for the fleet, obviously, but also helps the grid by feeding power back when needed. So it's a more holistic approach to the whole infrastructure challenge.
So lots of progress on tech, finance, new service models. But despite all this momentum, what are those stubborn challenges, the things still holding back really widespread adoption?
This is where, as you say, the rubber meets the road, and the nuances really matter. Ryan Pritchard shared something he called a shocking truth.
Oh.
California regulators actually acknowledge they lack underwriting models specifically for electric trucks.
Seriously, in California?
Yeah, and they're now launching work streams just to close that data gap. It points to a really fundamental systemic hurdle in the financial side.
Wow.
And Daniel Schlicht, among others, warned that just having zero-emission mandates isn't enough to decarbonize logistics. You still need route optimization, modal shift, proper driver training. Those remain essential.
Mandates aren't a magic bullet.
Not on their own, no. Key and Kavanaugh listed those common everyday worries for van fleets going electric. Range anxiety, charging complexity, TCO uncertainty, those data gaps again.
They're practical concerns.
Exactly. And Tamara Chilla pointed out a potential financial snag. Fleet charging cards for EVs might actually end up costing more. That poses real scalability challenges, potentially adding huge avoidable costs for big fleets.
Higher costs with charging cards, that's counterintuitive.
It seems so, but it's a real concern being raised.
So it really isn't just about the vehicle or even the charger itself, it's the whole system around it.
Precisely. Rick Fletcher from UPS and Raluca Marion echoed him, stressed that purchase mandates alone just don't solve those deep-root challenges. Grid capacity, slow permitting, building the large-scale operational infrastructure needed to scale reliably.
Grid capacity and permits. The unglamorous but critical stuff.
Absolutely. Renata Romella added that even electrifying airport ground equipment faces similar hurdles. It's less about the vehicle tech now, more about the surrounding system and operational changes. And Cecile Post from ChargeTrip put it quite bluntly.
How so?
She highlighted the urgent need for robust charging infrastructure and better planning tools, noting that, yeah, e-trucks coming, but, quote, everything around them is critically missing.
Everything around them is missing. Oof.
Yeah. So the fundamental insight, I think, is that while the vehicle tech is racing ahead, the whole ecosystem, finance, data models, grid, operations, training, that's what will ultimately decide how successful and widespread electrification becomes.
That's a really crucial point, the ecosystem around the vehicles. What stands out to me from all this is, well, the vehicles are advancing incredibly fast, yes, but the full operational shift, that needs so much more than just mandates. It needs that comprehensive infrastructure, smart policies that actually grapple with the real-world problems and, innovative solutions for the entire value chain. It's definitely a multifaceted journey.
Couldn't agree more.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other editions on electrification and battery technology, future mobility and market evolution, and next-gen vehicle intelligence. Thanks for joining us.
And remember to subscribe for more insights that will help you stay ahead in the mobility industry.